With 6 World Rally Championships under its belt, the Lancia Delta is definitely the greatest rally car of all time. Built after the Group B car ban, the Delta would dominate the rally scene from 1987 until 1992, when Lancia decided to retire from the rallying scene, setting this way a record which probably will never be broken. So hello guys and welcome back to another video, and here is the story of Lancia Delta. Everything was looking good for Lancia, and the Delta S4 looked like was going to win the World Championship sooner or later. But everything would change with a tragic accident, which took away the life of Heyen and Sergio Cresto. Accidents had happened before, but this was the one which put an end to the crazy days of Group B. The death of Group B was something that everyone was expecting one day, but definitely this move caught most of the manufacturers off guard, and some were really hurt by this decision, especially Rover and Ford, which had entered Group B only 1 year before, and after spending millions not only on development but also on building the 200 homologation cars, all brands found themselves with cars that were banned from racing. But thankfully there was Rallycross, which accommodated these cars.
Funk.
The Group B was supposed to be replaced by Group A, and some of the rules of this new category were a complete ban of all Group B cars. The cars had to be based on production models, of which at least 5,000 cars were built. The modifications were very limited, which meant that aerodynamic modification like front bumpers and rear wings were completely banned. This was quite a big move, since in the last days of Group B the bodyworks just went crazy. But the number one change was of course the limitation of the power output, which now would be at 300 horses maximum, just a shine of the 600 plus Group B monsters. There were also a number of other rules, which restricted the size of the car and many others. The biggest problem for most of these manufacturers with these rules was that they were only announced by mid-1986, which gave the teams less than 6 months to build their cars for the next season, which would start on January 17, 1987 with a rally Monte Carlo. So basically the teams had no time at all, especially compared with the Bs, which had required more than 2 years of development. Immediately all the teams started working on their Group A cars. Peugeot started working with their 205, which of course would be less crazy than the T16. Plus they had a long way to go, since they had to develop a new 4-wheel drive system. Audi on the other side was working with a 200 Quattro, which already had raced on some Group B stages, but Audi was quite afraid since the car was just too big for rallying. While Ford would later develop the Sierra RS 500 in collaboration with Cosworth. Another rule of Group A was that originally two-door coupes were completely banned, but this rule would slightly change later. But from all the manufacturers, one was laughing, and this was Lancia. Lancia had just introduced the HF 4-wheel drive, which was seen by many as a perfect car for Group B, with Cesare Fiorio being the most prominent voice. The Abarth team, which was responsible for Fiat Group Racing Division, immediately started to work for the next Lancia rally, and by early August 1986 the first prototype was ready. The first thing that was done was that the weight was reduced, which of course was done by stripping down the interior, but also by using some carbon fiber parts. But most of the work was done underneath the car. Lancia and Abarth were very limited on what they could do, due to the new regulations, since drastic mechanical changes had also to make it into the homologation version. The engine was reworked and had received new camshafts. Also, a new larger intercooler was used, while the Garrett turbos remained the same as on the production HF 4-wheel drive. The changes increased the power output from 165 horsepower at 5250 rpm to 260 horsepower at 6250 rpm, and the torque from 210 pound-foot at 2750 rpm to 275 pound-foot at 3000 rpm. The gearbox was also reworked with stronger materials. The Group A rules stated that the tires could not extend outside the bodywork, so the car would originally run with very slim tires. This problem was solved later with the first Integrale, which introduced the wider fenders. The competition HF 4-wheel drive was finally ready in October 1986, and like the 037 and the Delta S4, the Delta HF 4-wheel drive was dressed with a Martini livery. One of the most interesting parts was that Lancia didn't want to use fog lamps on the competition car. This for two reasons. The first because they wanted to save as much weight as possible, and the second was that they wanted to clear up the front bumpers for the air intakes. But the rules stated that they had to use them because they came standard on the road car, so Lancia just went and made them optional on the production version. Another quite controversial move was that Lancia used Triple K turbos instead of the Garrett ones on some of the production HF 4-wheel drives. This was done in order to have the possibility to use Triple Ks on the rally versions, since they promised more power. This move was protested by all the manufacturers, since they saw this as an unfair advantage, but there was no rule to stop this. By December, Lancia introduced its drivers. There were three factory team drivers, Marco Allen, Mickey Bason, and Juha Kanuken. But there were also a number of other drivers, which would race for the junior team and on the national championships. And so the car was ready for the 1987 World Rally Championship. So guys, thank you for watching. See you next time.